Okay, so hello everybody, good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening at our domestic violence panel event. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Lucia Gonzalez. I am the Survivor Leader Coordinator. It is my pleasure to introduce you tonight to a group of incredible people providing you this event, the Survivor Leaders for Sanctuaries for Families. So many things happening nationally, internationally, and even globally, such as a pandemic, racial trauma, grief, exhaustion, just to name a few. It's quite normal for oneself to feel burnt out, am I right? The Survivor Leaders this evening decided to highlight this year's Domestic Violence Awareness Month on trauma and healing practices. We hope it inspires you in your healing practice journey. As the panelists are presenting, if any questions were to arise, please feel free to type them in the chat box. After all panelists present, we'll have time to answer questions. I also wanted to mention right now, if at any time during the event you are in need of any support, any of the material that we are sharing with you is provides any kind of trouble for you, please reach out to us in the chat box. You can reach out to us privately. It could be to myself, or it could be to the Sanctuaries for Families option that you have in the chat box, just to request in speaking with someone to offer you support. We'll then connect you to that person in a separate breakout room, so you'll be able to offer that support. So just wanting to share that. I would like to introduce you to our first panel speaker of the evening, Moreno. Moreno, would you be able to share with the audience this evening the definition of trauma?
Wonderful good evening, everyone. Nice for you to be here with us to celebrate this occasion. My name is Moreno Moore. I'm a survivor leader for Sanctuary for Families. And I'm going to talk about what is the definition of trauma. Trauma is a deep, depressing, or disturbing experience that you went through in your life that haunts you. Example, the sudden death of a parent or a trusted caregiver, or the death of a child. Physical, verbal, sexual violence, hospitalization, an actual or threatened death, serious injury, rape, or a divorce that you never expected. There are different types of trauma. Acute is a result from serious incidents. Chronic, a trauma that is repeated often. Example, domestic violence or an abuse of any type. Complex, exposure to varied and multiple traumatic events. In varies interpersonal nature. Trauma causes physical, emotional, spiritual, or psychological harm. Experiencing the distressing event may make you feel physically threatened or extremely frightened as a result. Trauma attacks and effects to the brain in ways you never think of. Example, hypersensitive, depression, anxiety, cannot sleep, mood swings. Flashbacks can even cause a strain on relationship. Physical symptoms like headaches, nausea, and pains throughout the entire body because trauma attacks your entire body and organs. Just imagine a woman like me explaining the definition of trauma with a weight on my mind. Is she a survivor of trauma? Many of the things I mentioned faced me at different times in my life, and it is nothing to be ashamed of. Trauma is not being sold at no store, and nothing is wrong for you to seek medical help of any kind. I seek mental health in all the right forms with never forgetting to pray without ceasing, to my Father above for his serenity through my time. I did receive professional help. And I am so grateful. Trauma acts like a terrible drug addiction to the body. I'm a believer. My other panelists will explain on how it affects the body, how to seek help, and when needed, and what you can do to stay safe. Thanks for listening. Thank you, everyone. And now I pass it on to Carmen.
Already. Hello, everyone. I would like to speak on those, some of the common fallacies and misconceptions of trauma. Although trauma is, as Moreno said, something that is usually a cataclysmic event, like being someone who is raped or who has gone through war, it doesn't necessarily always present itself as that. It could also happen to a witness of said trauma. This is especially egregious when it happens to children, when they are in their development stage and they are at that point where they are very egocentric, so that they feel that they are actually the person who is causing the event. And the other aspect that I would like to talk about is on resiliency. A lot of people think that if an individual is strong, that they cannot possibly be traumatized. Trauma is something that forces the person who has gone through the trauma to kind of lose their feet, and it forces them to question their identity. So it could happen to somebody who considers themselves quite strong and resilient. And also, just because a person does not show to the outside world that they're going through their trauma because they have found a way to deal with it, does not mean that they have not been traumatized. Each of us is an individual, and we have sets of coping mechanisms that are different from the next person. And we also have different people around us who might be able to help us. So just because a person does not present like the person next to him does not mean that they're going through it. The other fallacy is that time heals everything. Although time is an important component of healing, time by itself, without getting the right help, is not enough. Luckily, we are living at a time where a lot of research has been done, both in psychology and scientists who have studied the brain so that we understand more about it. And there's a lot of help for everyone, and each person is going to be helped by something different. There isn't a one answer for everybody, but there's lots of people who are studying, people that have found different techniques, and there's help out there. So if you feel that you may be somebody who has either witnessed trauma, remember, it doesn't have to happen to you. You could be having a vicarious reaction because either people that you work with or you experienced it in childhood. And there's help out there, and there's a program that will help you get through it. So the thing about the overuse of the word, which is the main thing that I've understood in my reading, is sometimes words make it into popular culture and then they become buzzwords. and will say things like, oh, you know, I was traumatized because I missed my train. The definition that Moreno gave, where it's something that happens and the person cannot find a way out. If, for example, I were to even miss my train every day because I have appointments at a certain time, I can figure out a way to not be a prisoner of the MTA. I can leave my house earlier, I can go by cab, so that although might be an inconvenience and a major one, and it may be stressful, it does not qualify it as a traumatic event because I have a way, resources, and a way out. So the thing about you, the way that these words that come from psychotherapy and that come from a specific way that they're used, when they make it into the popular language, it's kind of a two-edged sword. It's good that more people are aware of it, but we have to make sure that they are used properly, because if everybody is traumatized, then nobody is traumatized. And the people that are actually going through a traumatic experience may think that they are not actually going through it because they see what the other person is calling traumatic. So it just confuses the soup. So we have to go out there and make sure that when we hear these words being misused, we educate people, especially the people who are dealing with children or lawyers or judges who have the responsibility of dealing with individuals who are in a traumatized state. And without further ado, I will pass it to my colleague, Joan, who will talk about what it actually does to the brain and body. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joan Hutton Mills, and I'm a sanctuary survivor leader. I will be speaking tonight on how trauma affects the body and the brain. Think of the brain as a computer that sends and receives signals throughout the body. It controls our thoughts, memory, speech, and the movement of our arms and legs. All programs are go and the system is running well. When a malfunction happens, everything slows to a halt. The brain immediately goes into survival mode. It becomes hypervigilant and has a fight or flight response. Your mental processes has been affected and you can't focus and you're unable to function. For example, the death of a loved one can send you into temporary paralysis. When my mother passed away, I was physically unable to move. My rational thinking went out the window, and I had no idea what to do next. I had difficulty in comprehending what had happened and couldn't process what was taking place. It was a long and arduous journey, but with time and support, I was able to deal with the loss and the pain. The brain also controls your personality. While in an abusive relationship, my once happy, carefree character became quiet, withdrawn, and moody. I no longer wanted to engage in any social activities, speak to, or get together with friends. I became isolated. I withdrew into a shell of my former self. It took months of therapy and a group of very strong and caring women who helped and encouraged me to reclaim that part of myself that I had lost along the way. Trauma also affects your physical health as well. You can experience exhaustion, numbness, anxiety, and agitation. The more worried and stressed you are, the more tense and constricted the muscles become. Trauma is stored in our muscle and fascia, which is a casing that surrounds and holds every organ, blood vessel, and fiber in place. This stored trauma leads to pain and progressively breaks down the body. Some chronic health issues are diabetes, hypertension, fibromyalgia, and cancer. There are times when medication is necessary to bring the body back to a semblance of normalcy. However, there are some holistic methods and approaches that have been found to be helpful. And on that note, I will pass this on to my colleague Fatima Gomez, who will be able to provide you with some of these alternative methods. Fatima?
Thank you, Joan. Good evening, everyone. My name is Fatima Gomez. And when the healing begins, trauma requires an ongoing process to heal the pain, be it emotional, physical, or spiritual. We are powerful enough to heal ourselves and to know how to do so. It is important to know that most everyone has faced trauma. However, how we cope and heal will differ from person to person. Some method that I have found in the process of healing my own trauma can essentially be divided into three groups that call upon the following skill set: productive, action-oriented, receptive, passive, and combination of those modalities. Some example of productive modalities has been writing my own thought and then burn them, walking barefoot in nature, and practice yoga or Tai Chi movement. Movement not only exercise the body, but help to keep it healthy and limber by flooding our brain with endorphin, chemical that enhance our mood. So find a physical activity that gets your heart pumping, such as swimming, jogging, dancing, biking, or walking will help. Example of passive modality can be reading, journaling, watching instructive or positive film, and going to a movie. Music study show that music therapy can have a very positive impact in our mood. The act of listening and playing music or dancing, whether a modalic or a rhythmic tune, give the brain a boost of dopamine, which give our pleasure. Therefore, a good song can ease anxiety, depression, and can help with better sleep. Therapeutic and healthy modalities can include walking, talking therapy, dialogue with a training counselor or licensed therapist. This can be an important factor in healing and can help sort out of those overwhelming feelings. Having or join a support group, as well as talking to other people with sharing experience can help in a combination feeling of isolation. You will not feel alone. Connecting and get together frequently with friends in order to have something to look forward, it is also highly recommended. Tap into the thing that you like to do, like painting. Also, art therapy program can be equally beneficial. In addition, incorporate Chinese medicine, acupuncture, or meditation have shown positive results. Focus your energy on something novel, like taking up a new hobby, builds a new brain synapses and plasticity, connection, and activity. In addition, positive things that makes you happy can redirect your mood for a while and create new transmitters in the brain. Eating can also play a big role in our healing process. By eating right and selective balanced diet, include different kind of vitamin, minerals, and proper nutrition is vital for a healthy body. The aforementioned modalities has been instrumental and essential in my healing process. Since I began working on healing my trauma, I have experienced spiritual healing practices from non-Christian beliefs. This includes Reiki, meditation, guides, imaginary, and tradition prayer. The result has been very positive. Humans may be spiritual structured the same way, regardless of culture, religion, faith, or even gender. What matters is one's own trust in the ability to heal. Spiritual healing works the same way. It takes us to a place beyond the world we can see. We go to the spiritual dimension and start working from there on our spiritual energetic body, heart and mind, and cellular release. This talk today is a part of my healing journey. This is how it begins. Thank you, and I pass it to Lucia.
Thank you so much, Fatima. So let's give some love and appreciation to the panel speakers for their insightful responses. You can use the reaction button. You can give some love and appreciation on the chat box. I want to take a moment before we move on to the next portion of our event. Questions from the audience. Feel free to add anything in the chat box. Feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to ask a question to the panelist speakers. So I'm going to be taking a look at the chat box. Feel free to drop any questions here. Our first question of the night. So this is up to the panel speakers. Feel free for whoever wants to respond. I will read the question. Are there things that helping professionals did along your journey that were helpful or not helpful? And I have another question here. I'm not sure if any of the panel speakers would like to. Carmen, go right ahead for the first one, and then I'll provide another question that's in the chat box. Go for it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that helped me a lot, besides starting to do yoga, was just telling myself that I needed to take care of me first, and setting aside a weekly yoga practice, and setting aside the money, even though it was always like, oh, we can't afford it. So just that idea that I needed to take care of myself, or else I wasn't going to be good to anybody else, putting the mask on first. And to that point, I never miss my therapy appointment. It's not even like what she says, but just the fact that I decided that those two things were important helped me to get like my mind body connection straight for the first time when I originally decided that I needed to seek help.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Next question that we have here is, what are ways that each of you personally have found best to deal with the isolation during COVID time so that the trauma didn't get worse?
I'll answer that.
Okay.
I found that keeping in touch with family and friends was very, very helpful. And also writing things down so that you don't, for me, when I write things down, it makes more sense to me and it seems as if it's not in my mind so much, and I can, if it's on paper, it can't hurt me or whatever. And when you talk to someone or whatever, you realize that even though you can't see them, but just having that support, that encouragement, makes you feel that, you can get through whatever it is you're going through. So for me, that it was keeping in touch with family and friends, and also writing, because I writing is a part of healing for me. So for me, those are the things that helped.
Thank you so much, Joan. Would any other panel speakers like to add a little bit more to that? Were they able to use other healing practices?
I would, this is Sweet Tea. Yeah. How y'all doing? I made sure that I watched comedy, just needed to laugh. That was so important. Listen to my music. Did my drawing, not my drawing, it's not my drawing, but I do the coloring. I don't know if you can see that, but it's all up there. I still have a whole lot to do because you just do one and it just takes your time and your mind. And I did a big chat with my children and my grandchildren. I included everybody where we stayed in touch like that. We did birthdays on Zoom. We got together on Zoom, most definitely my friends were, they were right here. We could talk on the phone and laugh and listen to music. Music is big for me. Music is the universal language of love. So, it took away a lot of what Joan was saying, the different ailments that can happen from, having that trauma base inside. And for all of us, we all went through that trauma of that particular time. So that's what I did. I yield my mic.
Thank you so much, Sweetie. Any other questions or any other additional comments that the panel speakers would like to add to this question?
Yes, Lucia. Hi, everyone again. Dealing with COVID time, it was, as they say, interacting with people. Part of it was me helping others who are going through similar situation and couldn't understand it. And I did a lot of that, talking to women and helping them, because it was helping me. So it wasn't only about them. I gained my strength even when I felt out and down. I still fight for them. And then we have the sisters. We group together and so many times that we reach out at times and talk. Some of us talk to each other. So it was family, friends, and all the loved ones, all my extended daughters that I have out there, all of them. So it was just being there for others that gave me my strength through that trial time.
Thank you so much. What a reoccurring theme, right? Connecting with our loved ones, just connecting with someone, right? To really combat that feeling of isolation. So thank you so much for your insightful responses, everyone. I would like to transition us all into the next part of our event this evening. For the next set of presenters, I would like to mention ahead of time that some may or may not need participation from the audience, okay? For our next presenter, I would like to suggest the audience in finding an open space where you can move your body freely. I would like to introduce you to our next presenter, which is Sandra.
Hi, welcome everyone. Good evening. My name is Sandra Manick, but before I get started, I'd like to send kudos to my sisters, Joan Hutton Mills, Fatima Gomez, Moreno Moore, and Carmen Elizabeth Guzman, Lombert. The ladies mentioned different types of tools that you use for healing and what worked with way or right way. As long as you let the music do what it do, and I want you to count is 4, starting to the right. You can do it in place, up a little bit, or you can move back. Please excuse my squeaky. She's down a little bit for today, so I want everyone to start on that right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and switch 2, 3. Kick 2, 3, up 2, 3, and back 2. Okay? You can make it your own. 1, 2, 3, and switch 2, 3. Shuffle 2, 3. Move it up 2, 3. Move it back. 1, 2, 3. Switch 2, 3. Take it out 2, 3. Move it up. And move it back. Hop. Switch. Hop. Kick. Hop. Move it up. Move it back. Hop. Tap. 1, 2, 3. Switch. Kick. Move it up. Move it back. Take it. Up. Tap 2, 3. And switch 2, 3. Kick it out. Move it up. Move it back. Hop. Make it your own. That's the solo pattern. Just stay in place. Tap it. Hop. Switch. Kick. Hop. Move it up. Side to side, whatever you want to do. Open it up. Move. Hop. 2. Pow. 1, 2, 3. And switch 2, 3. Kick 2, 3. Move it up. Move back. 1, 2, 3. Switch. Kick. Hop. Move it up. Move it back. Tap it out. Switch. Kick. Hop. Move it up. Let's stay here for a minute. Some of the ladies we talked about trauma and how it affects your body and your mind. And sometimes you gotta get colored with it. So we think of all those bad feelings, depression, sadness, anxiety, all those ugly things. What we gonna do? We gonna stomp it out. Right now. 1, 2, 3. Switch. Take it away. Go over it and walk back. Ah. Anxiety. Take it away. Walk over it and walk back. Depression. Ah. Stop it out. Take it away. Move it up. Ha ha. Move back. Look what you done done. Sadness. Take it away. Move it up. Isolation. Kick it away. Move over it. And move back. Look what you done did. Ah. How's everybody feeling out there? Feeling good? This move. 1, 2, 3. And switch 2, 3. Kick 2, 3. Move it up 2, 3. All right. How's everybody feeling right now?
You're broken down.
How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's okay. I can't really see a response from you. But that first part, sometimes you have to be loud and boisterous and give it a voice and tell it to go away. Get out of here, okay? I am a child of God, yes I am, and I pray. But sometimes when we're by ourselves and we have that alone time and we're feeling a certain way, sometimes we have to connect our mind and our body. So I want everyone here to leave a little lighter than when they came. I want you to find that word, that one word that resonates with you. Take it and internalize it in your being and in your heart. For this part, you can even kick off your shoes if you want, because I want you to get the foundation of the floor. And I want you to feel. Sometimes we have to be loud and boisterous, and other times we have to be quiet. And this last year and a half, the whole world was traumatized. We were all shut down. We couldn't talk. We couldn't be with each other. It was quiet. And sometimes that's the only way to hear is when it's quiet. Excuse me. Life on the merry-go-round. Technical difficulties, everyone just breathe while I get this together. You're broken down and tired. You're living life on the merry-go-round. You can't find a fighter. But I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Ooh, mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Ooh, mountains, bring it to its feet. Ooh, mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. And we will rise. We will rise. We will rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise. Thank you. So now I'd like to pass it along to my sister, Leticia Reyes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandrita. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leticia Reyes, and I am domestic violence survivor mentor leader from Sanctuary for Family. Since 4 years ago, I am from Mexico. I'm mother of 6 kids with 2 bad relationships. So, as you know, we are talking about trauma. Let me tell you something about me. I have many situations with trauma, but I didn't know. As a child, I was child abused. As a teenager, I have sexual assault and sex trafficking. As an adult, I start with domestic violence with my first partner. With the last partner, I had many situations as sexual abuse, economic abuse, immigration abuse, physical and emotional abuse. So I didn't understand what means trauma, but I have many flashbacks that my body let me know something that I didn't understand well. But with my last relationship, I had many situations and I had to go to the prison and make a report about it. So I had to take my daughters and go to the shelter. And I start with many other problems because I was single mother with 2 kids, 2 little kids. Was very difficult to do, even to take care of my children, to do my personal things. But I didn't know that things that didn't let me do anything else was trauma. Even when my body gave me many signs of trauma, I didn't understand. So 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I started with more problems with my health, and I had to go to the hospital. And I spent more than 1 week there because I didn't control my body, my feeling. I started with depression. Many things more, but I didn't understand. It was trauma. So I had to be honest. I had to take medication because I had to take care of my kids. I had to take care of myself. And I didn't want to do anything else, just to rest. I was sleeping all day. Was very, very very hard to take care of myself. But after a few months taking medication, I start to understand what was trauma, and I start to walking. I just take little walk. I was writing, I was sketching, and I write something about trauma, and I want to read it. It's a poem about trauma. So, hey, trauma, the day we met. Now I know you. Your name is trauma. But I was living with you for a long, long time. And I didn't recognize you until somebody tell me something about you. I didn't know who I was. And I still looking for who I am. Sometimes the trauma takes long time to understand what it means. I would like to say it in Spanish because my first language is Spanish. So, hey, trauma, el día que nos conocimos. Ahora te conozco, tu nombre es trauma. Pero yo estuve viviendo contigo por mucho, mucho tiempo y no te reconocí hasta que alguien me habló algo de ti. Antes no sabía quién era y aún sigo buscando quién soy. A veces el trauma toma mucho tiempo entender qué significa esto. Thank you. And all of us are here because we have some trauma in our lives. And sometimes we didn't understand. A lot of women are living with dark and they didn't know. So we are here to help and let they know they are not alone. We are here, we are fighting against domestic violence. We have to work together. We have to fight against everything that hurt us. Thank you very much. I know I have 5 minutes, but I just want to write a lot of things, but my mind was, I don't know, but I just forget everything. But my heart is with a lot of things about trauma, my mind, my feelings. But I want to learn more and help the community to know what means it. And we can do it. We can work together. Podemos trabajar juntas. Juntas tenemos el poder. Gracias. Thank you very much. I want to introduce my dear Doraina.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. God bless everyone. And everyone did such a marvelous, 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 marvelous job. Happy Domestic Violence Awareness Month to us all. We are survivors and we have made it. Can we just give God a hand? Let's give God a hand, the God of your understanding a hand, because we didn't have to be here, but we are here. And I'm grateful. And I thank you all for sharing what you have shared, because I've been taught some things that I didn't know about trauma. But I know that I've gone through a lot of trauma. And today I just want to speak a little bit about, Joan, thank you, first of all, for sharing how writing has helped you get through your trauma, because that's how I kind of got through my trauma. You know, everybody has their own way of getting through trauma. You know, thank you, Sandra, for that dance. You know, God bless you. You tore me up over here. I'm here crying. I'm like, I got to get it together, because I know I have to go through what I have to go through. Moreno, thank you so much. Like, I know that I'm going to cry, because I'm just a living testimony today. And I just want to speak a little bit about how spoken word can be helpful, can be a helpful healing practice. And then I want to do two pieces after that. So spoken word is poetry that is written on a page, but performed for an audience to inspire, to teach, to encourage, to uplift, and to share hope to your audience. Spoken word is designed to create positive, impactful images in the mind of the person that is being presented to. Spoken word helps us to develop self-esteem, confidence, emotional strength, stage presence, voice modulation, positive body language, and critical thinking skills, which helps the reader and the presenter to deliver an impactful, powerful message to that audience. So tonight, I just want to give and share. Leticia, she had the same hate trauma the day we met, but we all have our gifts. You know, I was like, oh my God, that was the name of my poem, but she did her poem and I'm gonna do my poem. And I pray to God that if there's anyone that's on this line that may be going through a traumatic experience, I learned about all different types of traumatic experiences tonight. And due to the fact that it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I just wanted to really talk about a little bit about hate trauma the day we met. And it reads, hate trauma, the day we met, a big part of me, I began to forget. From yelling to arguing, then punching came in. Stagnation, loss of control, then fear began. Never have I known such a dark and lonely place. The more that trauma came in, the more of me did erase. Why, oh why can't I escape this awful pain? No more energy left. Life is such a strain. I want to give up and I want to go away. So hurt and so confused as why I even stay. Him blaming me accepting the blame. I'm in this downward spiral, living with so much shame. I don't want to be here. I just don't know where to go. How can I escape this pain? I really don't know. Hate trauma. The day we met, I have totally lost myself. And until I get help, the help I need, I'm stuck on the shelf. This was written a little while ago, and it was when I was in a dark and lonely place. I too have 6 children, and I was lost and I was lonely, and I didn't know what to do. back then it was like they didn't really have the services that they have now. And it took me a couple of more years to even know how to even ask for help or where to go for help. But I thank God for Sanctuary for Families. I thank God that he gave me enough strength to go into a program, to find a counselor, to get a psychiatrist, to get a psychologist, to let them tell me, like, Ms. Rochford, you are going through trauma. You are going through domestic violence. Didn't even know what domestic violence was. I remember reading that, the domestic violence will, for the first time. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going through all of this. And I got introduced to domestic violence that day. And it took a lot of help for me to accept the fact that this was what I was going through and this is who I am. So God, now that I know this is who I am, what do I do? Where do I go? Send me, because I need help, because I need for my children to grow. They were suffering just as much as I was suffering. And I remember having a counselor and she said, Doraina, you have to deprogram and then you have to reprogram, because I had lost myself. I lost my self-esteem. I didn't know who I was. I became who he said I was. But I remember her telling me one thing. She said, you know what? It's going to take a lot of help, because I had to realize that I was that deep into my pain. 15 long years of being told you're nothing, you'll never be nobody. You know, who's going to want you? I don't even want you. Turned my kids against me and everything. And I was alone in a room with my windows drawn, with the shades closed, and just depressed, just laying and crying day after day, night after night, saying, God, where do I go? God, what do I do? Like Sandra said, she's a believer in God and I was a believer in God, but I lost all hope. Where do you go when you lose hope? How do you get your life back together when everything that you work for just seems like it has gone down a drain? But I remember she told me, she said, it starts by learning, not learning, but relearning how to love yourself. And I'm looking and I'm saying, love me? I'm nobody. How do I learn how to love a nobody? I've been told that I was a nobody for so long that I actually believed that I was a nobody. So Miss, tell me, how can I learn how to love a nobody? How can I bring a person who has no self-esteem? You talk about low self-esteem. I had no self-esteem. How can I resurrect me? Because I don't even know who I am again. So she told me, she said, it starts by loving yourself. Love? What is love? How do I begin to love me? So I want to share this before I get off, and it's called Loving Yourself. It's something that I wrote after being in years of treatment and relearning how to love myself and knowing that I can love myself again. So it's called Loving Yourself, and it reads, it's so important that we love and accept ourselves. We shouldn't look for acceptance through no one else. We must sit with ourselves and figure out what we need so that in the long run, we'll be able to succeed. We must accept it. If someone looks at us and says they doesn't like what they see, just say thanks. That's your problem, because today I have relearned how to love me. So what if someone leaves you for no reason at all? Loving yourself means that you won't stumble, and it means that you won't fall. In loving yourself, selfishness must play a valuable part. You have to love your own self from the depths of your own heart. Sit with yourself and take time to know you. Practice makes perfect, just like when you first learned how to tie your own shoe. Take self-hatred and put that on the shelf. then bring down a jar of that reads, I truly love myself. I thank each and every one of you for giving me the opportunity just to speak today. And if there's anyone on here that may be in the struggle, our theme is moving beyond trauma. So it may be somebody on here that knows somebody that's in trauma, or that might be at the stage of trying to come out of trauma, or even have already moved beyond trauma. Moving beyond trauma is one thing, but staying beyond trauma is something different. I heard somebody say that positive support. You ladies have supported me when I couldn't support myself. And y'all know what I'm saying, because I just had the worst trauma that I could ever have. But you guys stayed with me, and you stuck with me, and you called me, and you made sure that I was all right. It's really important to make sure that you have a covering. God is our covering, but you need people to cover you too. So in this group right here, y'all know who I'm talking to. I'm talking about all of you guys who decided to stick by my side, who decided to be my strength when I didn't even have strength. I lost my sister, the only sister I had. And you guys, it was because of you guys. It was because of this positive support of you guys that I can be on here today. So I'm just saying, like, grab a support group, hold on to them, grab onto them, pull them if we have to, because that's the only way we're going to get through, by united. United we stand, divided we fall. So with that being said, I thank you all, and we're going to continue to move beyond trauma by any means necessary. And you know what? When we do that, we're going to make it, and we're going to continue to make it, and we're going to continue to make it. I love you all. I thank God for you, and thank you for this opportunity. And I'm moving to, I'm sorry, to, I think Sweet D, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm muting myself. Greetings. I think we need a minute or like 15 seconds of just to take in everything that we've heard. Trying to get where I can see everybody, because I don't want to see me. In the meantime, while I'm trying to figure that out, I think it's the review. I want us to, gallery, there we go. Greetings to everybody, everybody. First off, to my goddess sisters, we are the epitome of strength, exemplified by, I can say Holy Spirit, I can say my crown chakra. It's all like going like this, because this is powerful and healing energy that is just being disseminated now for all those that need that extra embrace. Like, let us all give that to them, whether they're here with us right now or somewhere else. Make them to feel that they are not alone, or they may be alone, but not lonely. what I had that I thought I was writing down, I can't even find it because it was like, trauma and beyond. I can use the beyond part, big time now, because I've learned a lot about myself and about trauma and how it takes place in our lives. I have another concept, I believe in, we come back over and over and over again to finish something up. And when you get to this place here, and you're ready to go to the beyond part, yeah, the tears have to come. Allow them to come. It's the release, it's the letting go. So I invite us to we're at our not ordinary breath that we breathe, but some deep inhalations. And that each one of those breaths, with everything that was heard, we say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, take what's for you. And if, like Doraina and the rest of my sisters in the coalition have said, if it's not for you, it can be for someone, and share that with them, because that's what it's all about, sharing. I have been with Sanctuary since 1999. Laura wore penny loafers, I think. Did you wear penny loafers? How do I remember that in socks, right? That was a long time ago. She was a youngster too, younger than me. Absolutely. And I've watched the transition happen and how, look at, shucks, we on Zoom. Like, when did that happen? When did that happen? And that lets us know that, life is always evolving, that we're evolving with it as well. We're not going, there's no way that that we're staying in the same place that we were. That's stagnation, that's insanity. And the fact that the chains were broken and the awareness came that it's like time to go, that meant it was time to grow. And I'm a channeler. Gotta say who I am. Because, yesterday I couldn't. It was like, don't say this, don't say that, the don't speak. And my modality is from on high. And when I couldn't find the paper, I was like, okay, now what y'all want me to say? So I'm just saying, I'm just getting the messages, okay? Like, that's it, okay? Sound, depending on the type of sound that we hear. We have good sounds and we have sounds that cause trauma. The scream, the cry, the words. So the modality, one of the modalities that I use is my singing bowl. Oh, before I do that, but I do remember one thing that we rehearsed a little bit last week, and I have a lot of little musical stuff. This one is my shaker, and it's like one. Oh, this is gonna come after. Don't mind me, and I hope y'all laughing too, because we got to get some of that in there, because all the different expressions, all the, I see them teeth, Sandra. I see them. It's all about, for me, and how I use my gift to help. I use it in the healing modalities, you know, whether it's the singing bowl, I want us to take that breath. And when we do take that inhalation, like let it go all the way up and down and pull out any negative thoughts and energy that's sitting down in your diaphragm or in your bones, because we heard from Joan that it can cause fibromyalgia, cancer, all kinds of stuff. So you want to get that trapped energy, because we all have had trauma in some way. And if you saw something that made you, that's trauma. No one is exempt from it. No one is exempt from it. So we're going to take this nice deep inhalation. Exhale. Go as far as you can as we continue to breathe. Go as far as you can down there, as if you're getting stuff that don't belong there anymore and you want it to come up and out. I'm in Philadelphia. It gets noisy at this hour. Everyone's coming home. So we'll take our second breath, our second inhalation, going down deep. Exhale it. Ooh. And our third one, and this one, as you go down, I'm going to do it first as we regularly continue to breathe. Don't y'all stop now. Don't stop breathing now. Take that, you know, we're going to do this and go down all the way down there, like pull out stuff that's not needed anymore, like, you know, put it on your back in your mind. And then when you exhale it and you bring it out, feel that so deep that you can go, like you're really spewing that out. Oof, I felt that somebody just got a healing. I don't know where that happened at. So, woo, hallelujah. All right, so we take this last one, going in deep and going down and bringing it out. And that is something, woo, that's energy. That is something that we can do on a regular, is to take those deep inhalations and go down deep. It might, you know, this is your stage every day. What did you hear or see that you don't want to hold in your body, in your temple? Breathe that out and call it out by name if you have to, like you got to go, whatever it is. I won't name all of them, it's too much. So I was going to do my singing bowl, but I just want us to, I want to see everybody just shake it off. Shake off some stuff that you don't need and just out. Shake it off, shake it off. Take it out. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Take it off. Healing, love, bring in that beautiful energy of love. Feel yourself in your cool, in your calm state. There's so many modalities that we can go to, you know. We can give lists of that later in our resources as well. This transcendental meditation, which I really know that that would be excellent for, you know, those that are interested to take. I have some information on that. And lastly, but not leastly, before I bring on my other sister goddess, Monica, I am, I have one more thing. And this is again, sound healing. So we're gonna, you know, just use our ears and just listen and feel this for each and every one of us. Feel that, feel this and know that you may be alone, but you're not lonely. Why? Because you got your angels on either side. If you believe in that way, you have your protection around you. You have, you know, support from sisterhood and others. So, you know, reach out. If anybody is in here that needs to reach out and touch, you know, this is a network. This is a network. Sanctuary for Families has many doors that you can go through. Knock at one of them and you'll be directed to where you need to be. So I'm going to end this with a song. No, oh, no, I didn't receive a Grammy. No, I'm not singing. I mean, I can, but you know. And her name is Pam Taylor. And I would invite y'all to look her up for this particular song, but she was inspired by the things that happened in her life. And I met her via Clubhouse, another, you know, now new entity that we have. And it's called Be the Lights. So I want you to let me know if you can hear it. I have to get my trusted friend, Alexa. She's nosy, so I didn't call her name today outside right now. Alexa, can I have Pam Taylor Be the Light? And may our ear gates be open to receive.
On Amazon Music. I'm alone. This my time to shine. It's up to me now to be who I want to be now. And I'm proud of who I am. I've been through many trials, searched miles and miles for that one thing I've had all along. I get to be the light.
You get to be the light.
Share the music. I get to be the light. Shine so bright. I get to be the light. Give the love. Share the music. I get to be the light. Shine so bright. shine so bright, light up the darkest night. I get to be the light, light of the darkest night. Yes, I get to be the light.
Woo! Healing love to us all, and may we continue in this amazing work to help, to educate, to give of ourselves the true giving, light and love. This is Dushi, and I yield my, this is Sweet D. Dushi too. This is Sweet D, and I yield my mic. And I am going to pass this on to our last presenter, who is going to take us to our closing and give thanks. This is Queen Empress Monica.
Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, everyone. We're very full this evening. We received a lot. But more importantly, I want to thank everyone that has participated and repurposed, recycled their stories to a place of healing themselves, creating pathways for others. I like to share that trauma is an invitation to heal. The invitation is specific to the wounds that are inside, but also that exist outside within humanity. Peace is not the absence of conflict, but it is the presence of justice. I'm going to share just a few words that are specific to trauma. And the irony is that they also are specific to healing. Remember, reflect, reinvest, react, return, resonate, review, recapture, revise, recognize, reevaluate, recalculate, reignite, reestablish, reassure, regulate, release, heal, reconsider, reform, realize, reason, readjust, reunite, repurpose, renew, resurrect. When we are able to dive inside our wounds, we're able to create a path for others and leave a trail. So again, my words will be very few because there was so much given and so much to process. I just would offer for everyone the idea that healing is not any longer seen as something that is most valuable in isolation and one-on-one experiences, while those are very important, but there's also, I think, a universal need for expanding spaces in community for healing, which are very well represented tonight, and different modalities from different cultures, from different practices and different beliefs. But they all intersect with that we all have spiritual intelligence, physical intelligence, emotional intelligence, and intellect. And everything that was offered this evening creates a balance in those aspects of the human person. So I'm just going to ask everyone to take their hand and place it on their heart. If it resonates, if not, I appreciate you just listening. I will not invite you to breathe, but I would invite you to be aware of breathing and the importance. It's the first breath and the action that we take when we enter this world. And there's so many in between. And then it's the last thing that we take before we leave. So it's monumental and extremely important. So I would just ask you to close your eyes and listen as these words may land with you. I release fear. I create space for courage. I receive courage. I am courage. I release sadness. I create space for joy. I receive joy. I am joy. I release anger. I create space for peace. I receive peace. I am peace. I release unworthiness. I create space for worthiness. I receive worthiness. I am worthy. I am, I am, I am. I am love. I receive love. I give love. I forgive love. I thank love. I create love. I make love. I am love. I am worthy. I am enough. Thank you.